Open Lesson: A Conversation about Important Matters. During his trip to KYZYL, the President visited the new secondary school, number 20, named after the heroes of the fatherland, and conducted an open lesson titled A Conversation about Important Matters. The head of state toured the educational institution, one of 4 schools built in 2019 as part of the federal project Modern School. The school offers instruction in both Russian and Tuvan languages, and on Saturdays, various clubs and sections are held. Vladimir Putin: I've been familiarizing myself with your school, your new school, so I'd like to start our conversation by congratulating you on your new premises. The school is impressive. It's modern, meets all Russian standards, and these standards are very high and constantly improving. For KYZYL, this is certainly a very significant educational institution. So, congratulations on your new school. I'm sure you'll find it interesting here, make new friends, and most importantly, gain new knowledge at the highest level, as the teaching staff meets today's requirements. Naturally, I congratulate all students, teachers, and parents across Russia on the start of the new academic year. This is always a major event, not only for students but for all family members, especially parents, and of course, grandparents, those who dedicate their lives to education. Teaching is a unique field of work. What does it mean to teach and educate? It means dedicating a significant part of your life to others. It's not just a profession, to a certain extent, it's a calling. At least, it is for the overwhelming majority of educators and teachers. And of course, we owe a debt of gratitude for what teachers do for us. They are always in our hearts, and we carry this gratitude with us throughout our lives, remembering our teachers in school and later in secondary and higher educational institutions. Your school is especially unique. It's dedicated to the heroes of the fatherland. In this regard, I'd like to note that Tuva is a special region of Russia. Its uniqueness lies in the fact that when Tuva, I'm sure you know this, was still an independent state, friendly toward the Soviet Union, it was the first country in the world to become an ally of the Soviet Union in the fight against Nazism, against fascist Germany. It was only a few hours later that other countries, including the United Kingdom at the time, announced their alliance with the Soviet Union in the fight against fascist Germany. It must be said that the traditions established by our predecessors, our ancestors, our grandfathers and grandmothers, are still alive and continue to strengthen today. This includes the fact that around 10,000 residents of the Republic of Tuva are actively participating in the special military operation. They risk their lives and health to protect each one of you and the entire country. This is a brilliant example of patriotism and our age-old traditions of devotion to our motherland. Of course, today we should pay special attention to the first graders as they begin their school year, because their lives are undergoing significant changes. Until now, the world revolved around them, but now they are discovering that they, too, have responsibilities. This is their first step into adulthood. Responsibilities and obligations are beginning to emerge, and it is crucial how these first steps are taken. I very much hope that the older students, understanding this, will support the younger ones. This will be very important for them. The foundation laid today will last for the rest of their lives. Your support today will instill in them a sense of gratitude that they will carry forward in life, showing the same consideration for others when they are called upon to help and offer a shoulder to lean on. This is an extremely important aspect that strengthens our society as a whole. Naturally, we are also thinking about your peers' children from the Kursk, Bryansk, and Belgorod regions who are forced, due to known circumstances, to study online or attend classes in other settings. Certainly, our country and our armed forces will do everything to restore normal life in these regions and for these children. I am confident that this will happen, there can be no doubt about it. That's what I wanted to say at the beginning. I know, and I'm sure, that you also have some questions, comments, or perhaps suggestions. Let's discuss them. I would actually prefer our conversation to be not just a Q&A session but a dialogue between engaged interlocutors, if you'll excuse the repetition. Let's begin. Please, go ahead. Hello, Vladimir Vladimirovich. My name is Dana Dulush. Allow me to welcome you to our Republic of Tuva. I am a student of Lyceum number 15. Putin, that wasn't part of the plan, was it? Sorry about that. Dulush, I was supposed to wait my turn to speak, but I took the initiative. Putin, well done. Dulush, I study at Lyceum number 15 in the city of Kyzyl, and I'm in the 11th grade. Since childhood, I've been playing tennis and skiing. As my mother is a professional ballerina, those genes haven't skipped me, and I am now actively involved in folk dancing at the Theatre of Dance and Costume Edgy. I dream of graduating with a gold medal and pursuing international relations in Moscow. This year, I visited the Russia Exhibition Forum at VDNH 3 times, where I represented our republic. I attended events like Entrepreneurship Day, Moscow Fashion Week, and the presentation of the Republic of Tuva. Our goal was to encourage people across Russia to visit our republic. To some extent, we succeeded. Tourists are coming. However, their visits lack comfort. They travel around the Republic without the comforts that I believe they should have. The residents of the Republic of Tuva also travel within the region without comfort, under rather Spartan conditions. Vladimir Vladimirovich, I ask for your support in promoting tourism projects in our Republic. Thank you. Putin, after meeting with you today, there will be a fairly large meeting specifically focused on the development of Tuva. I came here not only to mark the beginning of the school year but also because this year we are celebrating the 80th anniversary of Tuva's integration into Russia. Of course, we need to review some outcomes with the Republic's leadership and colleagues from the Russian Federation's government and outline plans for future development. Tourism is undoubtedly one of Tuva's unique strengths, if I may say so. Why? Because it's one of the most promising sectors for economic development. The region is incredibly beautiful, there's no need to embellish that. I've visited Tuva many times, as you probably know. The unique culture of the Tuvans, the landscapes, mountains, and rivers, there are few places like Tuva in the world. So, it's certainly a promising area of activity. Of course, as with the rest of the country, and perhaps even more so in Tuva, we need to focus on the issues you've mentioned specifically, the conditions that tourists face when they visit Tuva. We have a very large program focused on hospitality and the development of domestic tourism. Domestic tourism is growing at an incredible pace. The number of tourists exploring Russia, including Tuva, is increasing exponentially. So today, we will definitely discuss this and plan how to incorporate Tuva into the broader national programs. Please, go ahead. Mungush, good afternoon, Vladimir Vladimirovich. We are very pleased to welcome you here on this somewhat overcast, but still very festive day. The children and I have been eagerly awaiting your visit today so that we could discuss what matters most. Sitting before you today are students from various schools in KYZYL, the best in their schools. I am Yuliana, an advisor to the director of the State Lyceum of the Republic of Tuva. Allow me to introduce my colleague, Lyubov. She is a Russian language teacher and a mentor in the first movement. With your permission, we will be your assistants today. V. Putin, please, go ahead. U. Mungush, then let's begin. B. Sanchat, hello, Vladimir Vladimirovich. My name is Batap. I am a student at Gymnasium number 9, and I am the chairman of the First Council of the City of KYZYL. I would like to touch on the topic of children's camps in Tuva. This year, as in my childhood, I attended our local children's camps. However, in the spring, I visited the All-Russian Children's Center Ocean through the Outstanding Firsts program. There, I met amazing kids and counselors, and I even had the opportunity to try myself as a counselor. Ocean brought me immense joy. In addition to this, I am also a participant in the University Sessions project, and I had the chance to visit the Siberian Federal University in Krasnoyarsk. This session allowed me to experience being a student at one of the best universities in our country for 10 days. But when it comes to children's camps in Tuva, particularly the Balak camp, I am deeply saddened by its condition. After all, it is the largest camp in Tuva, accommodating over 200 children each season. V. Putin, how many children are there? B. Sanchat, over 200 children. B. Sanchat, I want to make sure I'm understood correctly. The camp and the counselors there are absolutely fantastic, but the living conditions leave much to be desired. And it also saddens me that our children's camps only operate during the 3 summer months. So, Vladimir Vladimirovich, I'm here to tell you about my dream. 2 years ago, during one of the conversations about what matters lessons in Kaliningrad, a participant asked you to create a year-round camp called Shum. As far as I know, it has already opened. I dream of having a year-round camp here as well, where children from all over Russia could come, get to know our traditions, and experience our culture. V. Putin, where is it located, in which part of Tuva is this camp? B. Sanchat, the Balak camp. V. Putin, yes. B. Sanchat, it's in the Tandinsky district. Reply, not far, about an hour's drive from KYZYL. V. Putin, is there a river there? Reply, there's Lake Chajide, and several camps are situated around it. V. Putin, we will definitely take a look. Of course, during winter, substantial work needs to be done there. It gets pretty cold in winter. B. Sanchat, yes, it gets very cold here. V. Putin, very cold. How cold? B. Sanchat, it can even get down to -50. V. Putin, nevertheless, we will definitely take a look. As for the places where young people, both school children and students, rest and receive certain training, there are quite a few such locations in Russia, and their number is increasing. And that's exactly the right approach. We will continue down this path. So, I promise you, today when we discuss the development plan for Tuva with my colleagues, we will pay attention to this as well, I will instruct the government of the Russian Federation and the administration to make sure that your suggestion is considered in the development programs for this type of activity. B. Sanchat, thank you very much. B. Remarchuk, hello, Vladimir Vladimirovich. V. Putin, hi there. B. Remarchuk, my name is Bogdan Remarchuk. I'm 10 years old, and I live in KYZYL. I practice swimming. V. Putin, do you enjoy it? B. Remarchuk, yes, I do. V. Putin, how long have you been swimming? B. Remarchuk, 4 years. V. Putin, wow. That's impressive. Do you focus on any specific water sports, or just swimming? B. Remarchuk, just swimming. V. Putin, how far do you swim 100 meters? What's your distance? B. Remarchuk, 50 meters in 48 seconds. V. Putin, well done. B. Remarchuk, I also do swimming, football, and boxing. I even have a yellow belt in karate. V. Putin, wow. You're quite the versatile athlete. Which of these sports do you like the most? B. Remarchuk, swimming. V. Putin, swimming is great preparation for all the other sports you mentioned, that's for sure. B. Remarchuk, I'm also into motor mechanics. V. Putin, do you build things yourself? B. Remarchuk, yes, my dad helps me. V. Putin, what does your dad do for a living? B. Remarchuk, he's an engineer. V. Putin, well, of course, it's only natural for him to help you with building things. B. Remarchuk, my dream is to save up and buy a motorcycle on my own. V. Putin, motorcycles are dangerous. You'd be better off saving up for a car. Laughter. It'll give your parents more peace of mind. B. Remarchuk, my dad saved up for a car by himself when he was 14. V. Putin, well, you should aim for that too. Your dad sets a good example. But why do you want a motorcycle? B. Remarchuk, I just like that type of vehicle. V. Putin, have you ridden one before? B. Remarchuk, only a quad bike. V. Putin, quad bikes are dangerous too. You shouldn't ride one. They tend to flip over. It's an unstable type of vehicle. You can ride it slowly over rough terrain, but don't speed. Save up for a car instead, okay? B. Remarchuk, okay. V. Putin, how are you planning to save up? What's your plan? B. Remarchuk, by collecting and selling scrap metal. V. Putin, yes, that's a good, solid idea. You can definitely do that. Bit by bit, you'll get there. And then maybe your dad will chip in a little as a reward for good grades. Which school subject do you like the most? B. Remarchuk, Russian. Oh, I mean math. V. Putin, a bit of a mix-up, but actually, both are very important. Knowledge of your native language is crucial, especially since Russian is also the language of interethnic communication in our multinational country. It unites all the peoples of Russia into a single community, a single nation, which is very important. So, mastering the Russian language is one of the key tasks for school teachers. B. Remarchuk, my dad and I recently went to Irban and caught a 6-kilogram pike. I'm really into fishing. V. Putin, who reeled it in? Your dad? B. Remarchuk, my dad helped, but I caught it. V. Putin, so, you did the casting. Were you using a lure? B. Remarchuk, yes, a lure with a spinning rod. V. Putin, was the lure big or small? B. Remarchuk, it was a fish lure. V. Putin, so, the lure was this big, and the pike was this big? B. Remarchuk, yes. V. Putin, that's a great catch. Very efficient. Impressive. Are you going to continue studying at this school or somewhere else? B. Remarchuk, can I ask you a question? V. Putin, of course. B. Remarchuk, I'd like to ask you a question. How many hours do you sleep and rest to stay in such good shape? V. Putin, it's a bit awkward to lie, so I'll tell you the truth, but it's not a good example to follow. Don't take this as a model. I slept 4 hours last night. That's not enough. I usually sleep 6 hours. You, however, should get proper sleep, at least 8 hours. You're involved in a lot of activities and sports, so you need to be in good shape. And I need to be in good shape too. The fact that I slept only 4 hours today, and generally sleep 6, isn't because I'm so busy, but because I can't properly organize my workday. Everyone should be critical of what they do and of themselves, and learn from it. I'll work on that, and I advise you to do the same, okay? B. Remarchuk, yes. V. Putin, deal. I wish you success. And don't forget, there's a 4-hour time difference with Moscow, so that throws things off a bit. I'll work on improving this, and we'll do it together, okay? B. Remarchuk, yes. V. Putin, how many hours are you sleeping now? B. Remarchuk, 8. V. Putin, that's right. Good job. Keep it up. A. Novozhilova, good afternoon, esteemed Vladimir Vladimirovich. I'm Elisa Novozhilova, a cadet of the 82nd Platoon, 11th grade at the KYZYL Presidential Cadet School. I'm the platoon commander and consider myself a responsible and creative person. I'm professionally involved in dance and participate in KVN, Club of the Cheerful and Resourceful. Currently, I'm also trying to develop in other creative areas. As a cadet, I fully understand how important motivation and support are because the life of a cadet isn't easy. In tough moments, I remember the words of Alexander Vasilyevich Suvorov, a soldier who doesn't aspire to become a general is a bad soldier. These words give me motivation. I'd like to ask, what motto gives you strength in difficult times? V. Putin, if we're talking about Suvorov, there's a particular phrase that comes to mind, though it can be applied more broadly: the bullet is foolish, the bayonet is smart. One must always be, as Bogdan said, in shape, always ready to fight, and success will follow. The way you speak, with such confidence, shows your internal motivation, and it's clear you're a leader with a bright future ahead. A. Novozhilova, thank you very much. V. Putin, I wish you success. A. Babushkin, hello, Vladimir Vladimirovich. My name is Artyom Babushkin. I'm a 9th grade student at school number 1 in the city of KYZYL. I'm interested in many things, but mainly I'm an activist in my school's movement of the first. Currently, I'm the chairman of the primary branch, and because of this, I had the opportunity to fly to Moscow for the All-Russian School Presidents Forum. I'm also passionate about history, a love instilled in me by my grandfather, Viktor Petrovich Strukov, a former submariner in the Soviet Army and a veteran of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. I spent a lot of time with him as a child. He used to tell me stories, especially about the Great Patriotic War. In your speech earlier, I noticed you mentioned the Great Patriotic War and how our people fought and battled Nazi Germany. I don't have a question for you, I have a proposal. I'd like to propose organizing a tour for the 80th anniversary of the Great Victory, visiting the key battle sites like Moscow, Leningrad, Rzhev, Sevastopol, Stalingrad, now Volgograd, and the Kursk Bulge. This tour could include not only citizens of the Russian Federation but also citizens from CIS countries with whom we forged the great victory together. Putin, that's a great idea, just like the creation of permanent children's and youth camps. In this context, we can recall the words of Vladimir Vysotsky, who used to say in such situations, "It seems you read the right books in your childhood." It's a very good suggestion. We already have such programs in place. We are implementing these programs both in collaboration with Belarus and within our country. But certainly, if you're drawing attention to this, it's a direction that should be continued. You mentioned your grandfather just now. You know, there's nothing more significant, nothing more effective in shaping a person, especially a young person, than the example of their own family. You spoke about your grandfather. He was a submariner and served in the Ministry of Internal Affairs. It seems he shared a lot with you, and it wasn't in vain, it's become a part of your consciousness, a part of your mentality. Indeed, we must know the history of our families and our country. We should take pride in our history, which we do, and constantly reinforce in our minds the significance of what our people have accomplished over 1,000 years of development. This is crucial for the future. This is especially true for those who are no longer with us, who defended sovereignty and independence during the Great Patriotic War, who are fighting against neo-Nazism today, against those who instigate coups in other countries and try to oppress people of cultures close to us and speakers of the Russian language. This is very important for all of us, not just for those who are no longer here, but for us today and for future generations. The events you mentioned absolutely need to be developed further, and we will definitely do so. I will make sure that you and your peers here in Tuva participate in such events. I'll also speak to my colleagues in the presidential administration about this. I hope that you and many of those present here will take part in these programs. Please go ahead. A. Vorobyov, hello, Vladimir Vladimirovich. I'm Artyom Vorobyov, a student at school number 7. I'm a member of the Young Army and the platoon commander at my school. I've participated in 2 Zarnitsa 2.0 competitions and took part in the regional stage of the first aid competition. This experience came in handy, by the way. We had a situation at the end of May this year. My friend and I were walking to school past our national park, where the channel is, if you know it. A woman called out to us, saying that a girl was about to go into the water with the intention of harming herself. Without thinking, we ran over. At first, she was afloat. We asked her to come out of the water, but she didn't listen. So we had to go into the water and pull her out. As for my future, I want to finish 9 grades. I'm in 9th grade now and then apply to the Novosibirsk Cadet School. From there, I plan to enter the Novosibirsk Higher Military Command School and eventually try to join the Special Operations Forces. I have a question for you, or more of a suggestion. In our republic, we don't have a proper facility for training people who want to pursue a military career. V. Putin, but we have a cadet school now. A. Vorobyov, yes, but you need to be admitted there first. V. Putin, you need to work a little for that. A. Vorobyov, well, yes. What I mean is, it would be great to have a 1-week, 2-week, or even month-long course for military preparation, either for a fee or, if provided by the state, for free. V. Putin, I understand. First of all, I want to say that it's very noble of you to be thinking about this. It shows that the influence of your family, your surroundings, and the atmosphere being created in the country and in the Republic are encouraging a young person like you to think about your future, specifically, a military future, especially since you mentioned the Special Operations Forces. This is a case where we can truly say these are elite units. And right now, more than anyone else, I know how our Special Operations Forces soldiers are carrying out their combat missions. You know, books could be written about this truly. And I hope they will be written. So, what probably needs to be done? Starting this year, schools will be offering a course called Foundations of Security and Homeland Defense, where many of these things, I hope, will be systematically addressed. Nevertheless, if you feel that something is lacking, we have the Young Army program, and cadet schools are being established. As for secondary and higher educational institutions, the Ministry of Defense and other security agencies determine the number of these institutions based on need, so there isn't an oversupply of specialists or a shortage. Still, you mentioned preparation for this military future. It seems that something isn't fully working here, that something is missing. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. I will definitely discuss it with my colleagues. A. Vorobyov, may I add something? V. Putin, please. A. Vorobyov, I mentioned the preparatory facilities. If we don't need more of those, then what about the Young Army program, which you just mentioned? What if, based on the Young Army program, without formal events like taking oaths and so on, we created camps for the younger generation, like Bogdan? He's also in the Young Army, but there's a lack of military sports camps. V. Putin, I understand. These things exist, but you're right in saying that they're not enough. So, we will work on expanding this practice. A. Vorobyov, thank you very much. V. Putin, I want to congratulate you on your choice. It's a very interesting path. Modern Special Operations Forces are not only about inner motivation, courage, heroism, and the willingness to sacrifice for the homeland. They are also highly technological units. They use the most advanced tools in armed combat. This, of course, requires excellent preparation, both intellectual and physical, the kind of physical preparation that you clearly have. All the best to you. Thank you for this suggestion. ZH. Kechilol, hello, esteemed Vladimir Vladimirovich. My name is Zena, I'm 16 years old. I'm an 11th grade student at school number 1 in KYZYL. I play basketball. It was my older brother, who was the captain of his school team, who got me into the sport. He would take me to practices, and I became inspired by basketball, so I started playing too. Now I'm a member of the Republic of Tuva's basketball team. I barely have time for anything other than training and school. So, I'd like to ask, how would you spend your day if you were just an ordinary person, not the president? V. Putin, it's difficult for me to imagine that right now, to speak in hypotheticals. You know what I can say? In my opinion, this is important. The more you do, the more you achieve, the more you accomplish. Of course, it's necessary to do everything wisely, to manage your time, and to organize your day. But the more tasks you set for yourself, the more success you'll achieve. So, don't be afraid of this. Keep doing what you're doing now. If you're running out of time for other things, it means you're on the right track. Keep going like this. I'm confident that you will refine your schedule and set your priorities. But the more you do, the sooner you'll find the most important thing you want to pursue in life. ZH. Kechilol, thank you. V. Putin, best of luck to you. E. Shamzire, hello. My name is Shamzire Eliza, I'm 17 years old, and I'm a student in the 11th grade at school number 2 in KYZYL. I'm involved in sports, running, and dancing. The topic of the Special Military Operation, SMO, is very relevant for our region at the moment. It's also a very personal and important issue for me because my father is currently in the area of the Special Military Operation. Many of my classmates also have relatives there. My close friend lives in the Belgorod region. Of course, it's important for all of us that our country wins, and that our loved ones return home safe and sound. In our culture, there's a concept known as KAT, which translates to strength of spirit in Russian. The higher it is, the braver and more courageous a person becomes. Perhaps that's why, as you mentioned, so many young men and soldiers from our region have gone to defend our homeland. There's a lot of conflicting information online, especially about negotiations. I would like to ask you, as the most important person, how are things really going over there? And how can we, as students, help beyond weaving camouflage nets and writing letters? V. Putin, your inner resolve is the most crucial support and assistance because this attitude toward what's happening forms the foundation of the unity of Russian society. It's the basis for all our victories. As for the people of the Republic of Tuva actively participating in the special military operation, that is indeed a fact. I've already mentioned this. Nearly 10,000 people from your region are currently involved in the SMO. 4 of them have been awarded the title of Hero of the Russian Federation. And these are true heroes, not just titles awarded for years of service, but for personal acts of heroism in the fight for Russia and for all of you, as I've said before. I would like to remind you that the start of the special military operation was linked to the endless provocations instigated by our adversary and the coup in Ukraine, after which they began to suppress everything that had even a slightly positive attitude toward our country. They started turning Ukraine into a base, suppressing everything related to the Russian language, our culture, and historical memory. They began creating an anti-Russian enclave, an anti-Russia, on Ukrainian territory. They moved on to the actual construction of foreign military bases there, and so on. They started oppressing people who wanted normal relations with our country. We are defending both the people living in Donbass and our shared future, the future of Russia, because we cannot allow hostile entities, which harbor aggressive plans against our country and constantly seek to destabilize the Russian Federation, to be established right next to us. So, all your loved ones, relatives, friends, acquaintances, older brothers and fathers are carrying out the most critical state mission of defending the motherland. This has always been the case in Tuva, even since the times of the Great Patriotic War. As I mentioned earlier, Tuva was the first state to become an ally of the Soviet Union in the fight against Nazism. And today, we are all united in the fight against neo-Nazism. Regarding peaceful negotiations, I have always maintained that we want to resolve all disputed issues by peaceful means. You are young, still students, but you read and know that the hot phase began when our adversary rejected all agreements related to the possibility of a peaceful settlement in Donbass. They declared that they would not comply with the so-called Minsk agreements, through which we had reached an understanding on how relations with Ukraine and within Ukraine should develop, especially with those people who maintain ties with our country, with Russia. Instead, they discarded these agreements and began preparing for military operations, which they had already repeatedly carried out in Donbass. What did we do? We started defending the people, our people who live in that territory. Nevertheless, we have always advocated for a peaceful resolution. What's happening there now? The current authorities are not even legitimate according to their own internal laws. They were supposed to hold a presidential election but refused, citing martial law as the reason. This is not in accordance with the basic law, the Constitution of Ukraine. What has this led to? If the hostilities were to cease, the Ukrainian authorities would have to lift martial law. And after lifting martial law, they would have to immediately hold presidential elections. The current authorities are clearly not ready for this, as their chances of being re-elected are slim. Therefore, they are not interested in stopping the hostilities. That's why they staged this provocation in the Kursk region, and before that, they attempted a similar provocation in the Belgorod region, where your friend lives. I think this is primarily related to that. Their calculation was to stop our offensive actions in key areas Donbass. The result is known. Yes, of course, this has affected our people, who are going through difficult trials, especially in the Kursk region. But the main goal, which the enemy set for themselves to stop our advance in Donbass, they did not achieve. Moreover, it's no longer about moving forward 200 or 300 meters at a time. We haven't seen such a pace of advancement in Donbass for a long time. The Russian armed forces are now taking control of territories not by 200-300 meters, but by square kilometers. Therefore, I am confident that this provocation will also fail. I believe that after this, there will be a genuine desire to move from words to actions in terms of peace negotiations and to resolve these issues through peaceful means. We have never refused this. But, of course, we need to deal with those bandits who have infiltrated the territory of the Russian Federation, specifically in the Kursk region, and with their attempts to destabilize the situation in the border area as a whole. E. Shamzire, thank you for your response. A. Oajup, Vladimir Vladimirovich, hello. I am Oajup Ayush, a student at the State Lyceum of the Republic of Tuva. I am the leader of the Council of Firsts in the city of Kyzyl, and I also have a literature project that helped me take third place at the Republican Scientific and Practical Conference. I don't have a question for you, but rather a suggestion. V. Putin, excuse me, I have a question for you. What impressed the Commission so much that they awarded you third place, a very respectable and honorable position? What was the subject of discussion at this conference? A. Oajup, the topic of my work was the use of color in the works of a Russian writer and a Tuvan writer. The goal was to compare how writers from different nations convey their attitudes toward history. V. Putin, interesting, impressive. A. Oajup, I have a suggestion for you. There is a severe shortage of specialized professionals in the Republic, such as speech therapists and defectologists. This issue is personal for me because my younger sister has these needs. Due to her health condition, she isn't accepted into either regular or special schools. She doesn't have speech skills for a regular school, but she has excellent cognitive development for a special school. I would like to propose sending specialists to Tuva through programs like Zemsky Doctor and Zemsky Teacher. V. Putin, all right, good. And how old is your little sister? A. Oajup, she will be 7 this year. V. Putin, she's already a big girl. First of all, I'll see what can be done specifically for your little sister. In general, this work is very important, especially in the early years of life. When a child begins to speak, it's crucial because it shapes the person's future. That's a fact. It's good that you've brought this to our attention. I will definitely talk to the relevant minister, and we'll think about what can be done and how. This also depends on the number of children who need this kind of help. Therefore, creating a separate service might not be feasible. Perhaps it would be more practical to establish inter-regional structures. We'll definitely consider this. I'll be sure to discuss it with Minister of Education Sergei Kravtsov. Go ahead. D. Kh. Andar, hello, Vladimir Vladimirovich. My name is Andar Dankaya, I'm in the 11th grade, Class A, at Lyceum number 15. For a long time, I've been interested in history and English. I've placed in various competitions and Olympiads in these subjects. Even though I used to get bad grades in English during elementary school, I eventually found an approach that worked for me, and now I practice it daily. Now, observing China's policies and its relations with Russia, I'm curious whether the Chinese language will gain the same spread and popularity as English. Russia has long focused only on studying European languages. Chinese, being structurally different, could be the start of something new for Russians. V. Putin, you know, it's actually quite simple. Interest in a language and its global spread depend on the role a country plays in the world across various domains. This includes, of course, history and culture. But the primary driver of interest in a language is the economy, as strange as that may seem at first glance. From there comes science and education. These are all closely interconnected. Currently, there is a growing interest in the Chinese language in Russia. Why? Because there are many interactions taking place. Business is developing accordingly, and numerous partnerships are emerging between Russia and China naturally so. Our trade turnover with China exceeds $200 billion, now reaching $230 billion according to various estimates. And this volume continues to increase. What does this mean? It's not just about goods being transported from one country to another or the creation of joint scientific teams. It means that as people work together to solve specific tasks that life presents them, the need arises to learn each other's language. And in China, by the way, interest in the Russian language is also growing, just as interest in Chinese is growing here. The younger members of my family speak Chinese fluently. But this doesn't mean that we should lose interest in the English language. English is a great language. It has contributed immensely to humanity by uniting knowledge and bringing people together in the realms of culture and beyond. We're not rejecting anything. We have no hostile languages, nor do we have hostile countries. What we do have are hostile elites in some countries, who have been fighting against Russia for centuries, not just now, aiming to weaken the country. They think Russia is too large, posing a threat due to its size. They try to slow down our development, to sink us a little or maybe a lot. Some of them even publicly. This isn't something I'm making up, you can find it written in their books and articles. Contemplate the idea of dividing Russia into separate parts. With China, our relations are different. The People's Republic of China and the Russian Federation are allies in every sense of the word. Primarily, we join forces in the areas of economy, culture, and humanitarian ties, and the demand for the language reflects this. As China's economy continues to grow, let me remind you that today, by purchasing power parity, which means by the size of its economy, China is the world's #1 economy, with India in second place. Russia has now risen to fourth place. Most importantly, China's economic growth rate surpasses that of other economies in the world. This means the gap between China's economy and others, including the US economy, will continue to widen, at least in the near future, in the foreseeable historical perspective. This is an obvious fact. Yes, per capita income is also considered an important indicator. In this regard, the United States is still far ahead. China has a population of 1.5 billion people, while the US has just over 300 million. Per capita, the US is ahead, but in terms of overall economic size, China is significantly larger, and this gap is continually growing. Therefore, the importance of the Chinese language will undoubtedly increase. As we say today, this is a medical fact, and there's no escaping it. But while thinking about this, we must not forget the role and importance of the Russian language. First and foremost, it is the language that unites all the peoples of the Russian Federation. Secondly, it serves as a tool for communication with other countries. Russian is a language of international communication. It is one of the official languages of the United Nations. More than 300 million people around the world speak it. We must do everything possible to maintain its level and status, both within our country and with our closest friends, neighbors, and allies, particularly within the former Soviet Union, but also with our key partners and allies, including a vast and rapidly developing country like the People's Republic of China. However, this does not mean, and I want to emphasize this again, that you should abandon English. Of course not. Even today, in terms of the economies of Western countries are highly advanced and modern, and we certainly have much to learn from them. The contacts haven't disappeared, in fact. The ruling elites there try to isolate Russia, but it's clear to everyone that this isn't working. There are many people in those countries who support Russia, who support our efforts to strengthen traditional values, and who are also fighting for these values in their own countries, for family, for healthy relations between our nations, for traditions both here and there. We need this, and it remains in demand. So, don't give up on English, continue to study it. But if you see a need to learn other languages of the world, do so as well. Don't stop there. DKH. Ondar, alright. Thank you for your answer. V. Putin, you're welcome. T. Shyvyk, Vladimir Vladimirovich, hello. My name is Shyvyk Tajir, I am a 10th grade student at school number 7. I am the deputy chairman of the first council of the city of Kyzyl, an athlete and an active participant in the first movement. Of all sports, I like judo and sambo the most. V. Putin, we have something in common. T. Shyvyk, yes. 2 years ago, my father said to me, son, get up, let's go to judo. I agreed and went with him. When I entered the hall, I saw the guys in snow-white armor, as we call the kimono. I said to myself, I will be just like them. And after 2 years, thanks to the efforts of my coaches and friends, I finally began to take first place in city and regional tournaments. As a judoka, I know very well that you are also a judoka and a sambist, and even hold the title of Master of Sports. I also dream of becoming a pilot, and after the 11th grade, I want to enroll in the St. Petersburg Civil Aviation School. V. Putin, Civil Aviation. T. Shyvyk, yes, Civil Aviation. V. Putin, it's located on Lydiny Prospect in St. Petersburg. It's a good, reputable institution. T. Shyvyk, yes, it's reputable. From sports, I've adopted a principle for life, hold your defense and strike first. It's almost like you're saying, if a fight is inevitable, strike first. I have a question for you, what principle from sports have you taken into your life? What rule do you follow in your daily life? V. Putin, you've just brought up our favorite sports. Indeed, I started with sambo, achieving the title of Master of Sports of the Soviet Union. Later, our entire group, our entire section, switched to judo, where I also earned the title of Master of Sports of the USSR in judo. Judo and sambo are excellent sports. They're similar, but there are differences in the rules, and therefore in the movements, throws, and submission holds. But there's a very good rule in judo: flexibility in everything. This is a great principle, one that's applicable to life in general. As I mentioned earlier, the bullet is foolish, but the bayonet is wise. You must be ready for close combat and not fear it, moving forward yourself. But often, it's crucial to be flexible in order to achieve victory. T. Shyvyk, so, what rule do you follow? V. Putin, that's the one I just mentioned. T. Shyvyk, flexibility? V. Putin, yes. It's very important to be able to demonstrate flexibility, but always with the ultimate goal in mind to win. T. Shyvyk, thank you very much. V. Putin, I wish you success in sambo as well. Are you still practicing sambo? T. Shyvyk, yes. V. Putin, excellent. Do you understand and feel the difference between the two? T. Shyvyk, yes, there is a difference. V. Putin, these are excellent sports, especially for boys, young men, and men. T. Shyvyk, especially for children. V. Putin, team sports are also very good. It's interesting to watch basketball, soccer, and all team sports. There's a collective effort and responsibility for the team, but when you step onto the mat, it's just you and your opponent, and everything depends on you personally. This is very important for building strong character. Shyvyk, thank you very much. L. Ichin Norbu, Vladimir Vladimirovich, we understand that you're very busy, but could the kids ask a couple more questions? V. Putin, of course, go ahead. Oh. Timuroel, hello, Vladimir Vladimirovich. My name is Timuroel Oyuna. I study at school number 11 in KYZYL, in the 11th Border Cadet class. Since childhood, I've been passionate about singing, dancing, and drawing. V. Putin, see? And you say there aren't enough institutions focused on patriotic training and preparation for future military service. There's even a border cadet class. I didn't even know that. Oh. Timuroel, it's only at school number 11. V. Putin, all right, I understand there aren't enough. I've got it. Go ahead. Oh. Timuroel, I've loved sports since childhood. I also trained in boxing and participated in many sports competitions and events. V. Putin, sorry to interrupt you again. You trained in boxing. Did you see the Olympic Games where a person who declared themselves a woman knocked out a real woman and broke her nose? What do you think about that? Oh. Timuroel, I think it's not very fair to other girls who trained hard for these competitions. V. Putin, I just mentioned the need to be flexible to win, but you're being very flexible now, not very fair. It's absolutely unfair. It's nonsense, absurd. Oh. Timuroel, yes, it's unfair. V. Putin, another Italian with a huge beard, said he would declare himself a woman just to beat up the person who broke the Italian woman's nose. They are completely destroying women's sports, just obliterating them. Any man can simply declare himself a woman and compete in any sport, leaving no chance for women to win prizes, let alone first place. But that's just an aside. Oh. Timuroel, I completely agree with you. V. Putin, I interrupted you. Please continue. Oh. Timuroel, I participated in sports competitions like Zarnitsa 2.0, Scouts Trail, and the military relay of the Border Guard Department of the Republic of Tuva. Right now, many of my peers and young people are choosing things like vapes instead of a healthy lifestyle. This really upsets me. V. Putin, you mean electronic cigarettes? Oh. Timuroel, yes, electronic cigarettes. It really upsets me. I have an idea to raise taxes on vapes and use the revenue to build sports facilities for all of us. It's very commendable that you're concerned about young people using vapes and electronic cigarettes. There is indeed reason to be worried, and I'll explain why. As for sports, to achieve success in life, it's absolutely essential to engage in regular physical activity and sports. Modern research shows that physical exercise also enhances cognitive abilities. A person is unlikely to be fully effective or achieve significant results if they don't engage in any physical activity. The body is a unified system, and physical exertion is connected to brain function, so it's something that must be done. In the past few years, I believe the number of people participating in sports has increased by 16% from 40 to 56%. But that's still not enough. By 2030, we need at least 70% of Russian citizens to be regularly engaged in sports. We're working to encourage people to maintain a regular fitness routine. We've introduced a policy where people who meet the GTO, ready for labor and defense, standards and undergo timely medical check UPS receive certain tax benefits. We're constantly building new sports facilities across the country, about 350 each year, funded by the federal budget alone. These are solid programs. However, there must also be internal motivation for physical activity and a clear understanding of the consequences of harmful habits. Young people, in particular, don't always think about this. It may seem cool to smoke electronic cigarettes, but no one considers the problems that arise: memory issues, overall physical health issues, and weakened immunity. Surprisingly, even though these are electronic cigarettes, harmful microorganisms still enter the lungs, which weakens the immune system. And for young people, what's especially concerning is that it reduces reproductive function for both men and women, meaning their ability to have children in the future is diminished. These are serious issues. But when something seems fashionable and cool, people don't think about these things. It's important to be aware of and consider these consequences. Is it necessary to increase taxes? I believe we've been raising taxes for the past 2 or 3 years already. You know, there are always certain limits when it comes to raising taxes and imposing bans. In the Soviet Union, there was a saying, grab and don't let go, essentially, to ban and suppress. Sometimes, bans are necessary, but there's always a threshold where those bans stop being effective. We're already seeing a large influx of electronic cigarettes entering the market illegally or in a gray area, without any taxes, produced outside the legal framework. Unfortunately, our country had a similar experience when we fought against alcohol by cutting down all the vineyards, which led to an increase in home brewing and people drinking all sorts of dangerous concoctions. The death rate soared. This should be a comprehensive effort. The main part of this work should be to explain the real consequences to show what this leads to. We need to make a healthy lifestyle and regular sports activities fashionable, something that's truly cool. The young man who spoke before you mentioned that he practices Sambo and Judo and has started winning first places. That's what's cool. It requires discipline, willpower, self-organization, and hard work. And the result is that he earns a respectable place in an honest competition. Pulling out an electronic cigarette takes no effort. Where's the heroism in that? Oh. To Murrow, there's none. V. Putin, there's nothing heroic about it. Just showing off, I'm so cool. You're cool when you step onto the tatami, the mat, or the basketball court and win, then you're cool. But just taking out of a pee and puffing on it? What's that? Nothing. It only leads to negative outcomes. All of us together, including during youth events and youth camps, in the movement of the first, in Unarmia, and so on, in schools. We just need to explain and demonstrate this, but do it in a way that's appealing, smart, clear, and convincing. Then success will be assured. Oh. To Murrow, thank you. V. Putin, thank you for your question. L. Antonov, hello, Vladimir Vladimirovich. My name is Lev Antonov. I'm a 17-year-old student in the 11th grade at Lyceum number 15. I'm involved in sports, participate in academic competitions, scientific conferences, and military-style relay races. I am the president of my school. During my election campaign, I promised a lot to my peers. Over the past year, I didn't manage to fulfill one point. I wanted to organize inter-school sports competitions. Thanks to this meeting, I hope that school directors and presidents will support me, and we'll finally be able to hold them. My question, Vladimir Vladimirovich, as a president to the president, is there anything from your election campaign that you haven't had the chance to fulfill, and if so, how do you plan to address it? V. Putin, there's always something to strive for. A person should always feel that there's something they haven't done or could have done better. If you lose that feeling, it's time to stop doing the work. You see, there can never be a perfect situation. It's not like in the famous work where you can say, "Stay a while, you are so beautiful." Moments can be beautiful, but there's always room for improvement. If you have an inner drive to achieve more and get better results, then you have a chance to make that happen. Of course, when you, as a responsible person who makes promises, give your word, you need to think carefully about whether it's achievable or not. I hope you do the same. We were just talking about these VAPs, or whatever they're called, and now you're talking about competitions. These things are connected. It's essential that it becomes cool to win these competitions. People should be proud of it, and young people who achieve these results should be the heroes, not those who puff on cigarettes and then can't remember what happened yesterday, can't remember their father's name, and can't have children because they've destroyed everything that could have been. On the other hand, sports provide opportunities for development and create the basic conditions for progress in other areas. And of course, if you promised to organize those competitions, you need to follow through. L. Antonov, thank you for your answer. V. Putin, you're welcome. A. Popkova, hello, Vladimir Vladimirovich. My name is Irina Popkova, I'm 14 years old, and I'm a 9th grade student at Lyceum number 15. Since elementary school, I've been participating in various conferences, competitions, and contests, and I'm also doing very well in school. In my free time, I practice yoga and I love traveling around Russia with my family. I've visited different cities like Sochi, Moscow, Irkutsk, Novosibirsk, and Abakan. V. Putin, which one did you like the most? A. Popkova, I liked Sochi the most. V. Putin, warm and beautiful. A. Popkova, yes. My father recently returned from the Special Military Operation, SVO. Military personnel get leave twice a year, and each time he comes home, we go somewhere to travel. Recently, we drove to Krasnoyarsk by car, which took about 10 hours. Usually, we travel by plane, but tickets are getting more expensive every year, especially from our republic, and we don't have a railway. Vladimir Vladimirovich, I have a question for you, will there be continued construction of the railway from other regions of the country to our republic? V. Putin, we have big plans for the development of railroads, particularly the so-called Eastern Polygon, which is all about expanding transportation infrastructure, including railways, toward Asian markets. As I mentioned earlier, our trade volume is increasing, and we don't have enough transport capacity. So, we will definitely be working on this. I'm aware that there were specific plans for the so-called KYZYL Karachino branch. Unfortunately, it's not developing as it should, partly because the initial planners wanted to turn it into a purely commercial project without connecting it to local communities. However, the leadership of your republic insists that this project should be carried out primarily for the benefit of the people living in various settlements. So, there are plans, and I hope they will be implemented. As for air travel, we're constantly working on subsidizing flights, especially from regions like Siberia and the Far East to the European part of Russia. I won't list everything now, but it includes various categories of our citizens based on age, certain periods, and certain months of the year. We'll continue to expand this program, and of course, we'll keep Tuva in mind. A. Popkova, thank you. V. Putin, the fact that you travel around the country with your father is really great. Is he here now or has he left? A. Popkova, no, he's still here. V. Putin, send him my regards. A. Popkova, I will. V. Putin, how is he feeling? A. Popkova, he's doing well. V. Putin, he's doing well. A man comes back from a combat zone, and he's doing well. That means everything will be fine for all of us too. A. Popkova, thank you. G. Alexev, hello, Vladimir Vladimirovich. I am Georgy Alexev, a cadet in the Ministry of Emergency Situations class at School Number 1 in KYZYL. I have been practicing Army hand-to-hand combat for 8 years now. Recently, I achieved the standard for the first adult rank. My interest in sports was noticed in 7th grade by my mentor, Denis Sergeyevich Popyagolov, who is also the school's principal. He helped me develop my military training skills. Why military training? Because he started taking me to military sports competitions and even put me in charge of some squads. I hadn't really thought about what profession I would choose before, but after Denis Sergeyevich started inviting me to various competitions, I began considering my future career. After finishing 11th grade, I want to enroll in the Novosibirsk Military Institute named after I.K. Yakovlev. According to friends who are already studying and serving there, elite special forces units visit every year and conduct selections. I've become very passionate about this, and I want to join the Alpha Special Unit. My question for you is, what influenced your choice of profession? V. Putin, and what about yours? You know, that's a really complex question. It's connected to the environment we live in, the school we attend, the people around us. It's influenced by the literature we read, the movies we watch, and the general sentiments in society. I grew up in a simple family, but in an environment that was very patriotic. My father fought in the Great Patriotic War, and my mother was in besieged Leningrad with a child. All my relatives were, in one way or another, connected to the events of the Great Patriotic War. They were simple but very solid people of strong character. All of this school, literature, family shapes our worldview. It certainly influenced me as well. In the end, I became passionate about it and wanted to pursue a military career. From the beginning, I wanted to work in the Soviet Union's Foreign Intelligence Service, and that's what happened. I'm not sure if it was by chance or, as they say, God willed it, or if it was simply fate. It seems you have a similar experience. You talked about your teacher who recognized your leadership qualities and abilities. I'm sure it wasn't by accident that he offered you the opportunity to lead certain groups, and so on. All of this shaped you. The same influences shaped me, and they shape everyone here, and indeed every person. When we talk about strengthening our traditional values, it's crucial for the future of our country because it forms people like you. I want to congratulate you on your choice. If you've made such a serious decision, it means that your life up to this point has been right in terms of shaping your character and your attitude toward life, your family, and your country. Service in a unit like the Special Operations Forces Alpha, being one part of those forces, is a special kind of service. It's not just about love for your homeland, your country, and your family, it's about being ready to fight for what you dedicate your life to the very end. G. Alexsuf, thank you very much. V. Putin, you have to be internally prepared for this. G. Alexsuf, I would also like to thank my teacher for guiding me toward the right choice. V. Putin, I wish you success. G. Alexsuf, thank you very much. V. Putin, we need to start wrapping up. Let's take a couple more questions. Go ahead. V. Darzieva, hello, Vladimir Vladimirovich. My name is Veronika Darzieva, and I'm an 11th grade student at school number 15. Since childhood, I've always been interested in technology. As a result, I developed my own website, and in the 10th grade, I received several awards and nominations at scientific conferences. When we were sent a link to an app called Sfurum, which is designed for communication between students and teachers, I immediately became interested in the functions and possibilities of this platform. As a future developer, I see potential for improving this service. Since Russia is a land of opportunities, I'd like to know about the possibilities that could be integrated into the Sfurum app, specifically, the ability to track all the competitions and events happening in our region or across the country. This would allow users to choose events that match their interests, register, apply, and participate, challenging themselves. V. Putin, the Sfurum platform was created by us, if I'm not mistaken, at the end of 2021, and today, almost 25 million people use it, including students, teachers, and educators. It was designed to address the very needs you just mentioned. In general, the IT sector is one of the most crucial areas the government is focusing on because our country's future undeniably depends on how effectively we work in this field. I must say that we're doing quite well here. For example, the application of IT technologies in public administration is one of the most prominent areas, even compared to our competitors. But we need to ensure that almost 100% of government services are provided electronically in the coming years. Those who work in IT know that the state offers a range of benefits to ensure rapid development in this sector. For instance, the profit tax has been at zero until the end of this year. From 2025, it will rise slightly, but only to 5%, which is a very favorable condition for this kind of work. Those in this sector also benefit from a preferential mortgage rate of less than 6%, among other forms of support. But we certainly need to create a sort of one-stop shop. If it doesn't exist yet, I'll discuss it with my colleagues, including those in the government and the Ministry of Digital Development, especially with Maksut Igorevich, Minister of Digital Development, Communications, and Mass Media. We need to focus our efforts on ensuring that users of this platform can access all the information they need, including what's happening in this field, so they can participate in the events you mentioned. We'll definitely make this happen. V. Darzieva, thank you. V. Putin, thank you. I think we should probably wrap up now. L. Ichin Norbu, Vladimir Vladimirovich, the students really want a photo with you. May we? V. Putin, yes, of course. I'd be happy to. Let's do it. Thank you very much for the conversation, everyone. That's the first thing. Secondly, I understand that you represent various groups from across the Republic, so I have a big request. Please convey my best wishes and success to all your friends and fellow students. Once again, I congratulate you on the start of the school year.